Today, you're going to learn the basics of exterior rodent bait stations. Notice I said exterior. The number one comment we get from clients is, hey, those traps right there, or hey, those traps you have outside. These are not traps. They are exterior bait stations. The overall idea on how they work is rodents come into the station, will consume the rodenticide, exit the station, and given some variables, that rodent will expire anywhere from 7 to 48 hours after consumption if they've consumed enough bait for mortality. How they work. Exterior bait stations are placed outside along the perimeter of a structure. So if you picture your structure wall, okay, your structure wall is here, the bait station should slide here. The reason being is rodents love to run along the edge of walls where they feel most protected. Rats specifically are very shy creatures. Mice, you might see jet across the room, but overall rats will always go along the side of a wall. The station is meant to look attractive. It doesn't attract rodents to it. It's meant to look attractive as rodents are moving around it. It should be clean, well maintained so that that attraction works best. The rat sees the hole on the side and goes, oh, that looks like a good little place to hang out. Once they get in, the rat should feel secure because it's clean, free of debris, free of spider webs, and should feel comfortable to come inside and begin to consume the bait. Once the bait's consumed, the rat sometimes will hang out or sometimes take off. Sometimes the rat will start to make a nest inside of our station and eat the bait, and we usually find an empty nest. How exterior bait stations should be serviced. Exterior bait stations should be serviced regularly, at least quarterly. The best is monthly. The mid-range is every other month. That would depend on your rodent activity around your property, would depend on frequency. But if rodent bait stations aren't serviced frequently enough, they're basically useless and turn into rat hotels. For example, if you have a lot of rat activity around your property, but you have quarterly service, well, as soon as we service that station, a rat's going to come in, consume the bait, and all that bait's gone. Now you just have a fancy rat hotel. The way they should be serviced is we will approach the station using a special key to keep it secured. We'll open it up, and the station should be brushed out, again, free of debris, free of spider webs. I mean, no rat's going to want to come in here and hang out with a bunch of spiders. Obviously, it doesn't have to be that clean. We're not trying to eat off of it. Bait should be well maintained and replaced regularly. A lot of times, guys won't replace bait if only a little bit's missing, but then how do you tell if you had activity again? On the exterior, by current California law, we have to have an EPA label. This EPA label tells what type of bait is in there, as well as contact information for the company, and a punch card. The punch card denotes service. This is proof that your pest control operator has serviced the station. Some companies use barcodes on the outside, or like Ecolab, they put their punch card on the outside of the station. I don't know if I'm too comfortable with that. Once the station is cleaned and serviced, it should lock properly and should be secured. That's very key. It should have a block on the bottom to weigh it down to keep it from moving easily, or it should be nailed, glued, or drilled or screwed to a surface. Or back in the day, we used to use a metal cord and used to hammer it into the ground. That's a bit passé. But it needs to be secured so that the bait inside stays secure and doesn't fall out of the station to harm any non-target animals or be picked up by anybody else. An exterior bait station can be added to any current service. So if you currently have pest control service, but you only have spraying for insects and spiders, no problem. We can always add rodent control to any service, or rodent control can be done as a standalone service. If you only have rodents but aren't concerned with your insects, we can do just a rodent control service. Overall rodent protection isn't just putting bait stations around the outside of your location. It's also controlling rodents if they get inside. So a lot of people think, oh, I'll just throw down some bait stations and boom, my rodents are controlled. No, that's not how it works. It will control rodents around the exterior, but you also need control on the inside. So as part of a good rodent control program, we generally will put bait stations around the exterior. We'll be putting proper traps in attic, ceiling, or crawl space or basement areas. And the garage or other storage areas that are similar to that also need types of rodent control on the inside, traps. So exterior bait stations around the outside, traps on the inside. Also, for all of you pest control operators out there, your equipment is your biggest representation of your service. Keep your equipment clean, well maintained, and that's a good indication that you're providing good pest control services. Well, should you have any more questions about rodent control? Need to add rodent control to your location? Give Versatech Pest Management a call. All of our inspections and consultations are free, and that way we can best answer all of your questions and get you the right service options.